Hey, how's it going? Take two. Accidentally touched a button. So please take a look at my signs. So what I had started to talk about was sort of the landscape outside of here, which I have only a limited view of because here it's just quiet and calm and there's like no nastiness. I think everyone by now must have heard how gleeful Nick Fuentes, a right-wing angry guy, I'm not even sure. He has like a show, so I guess he's an influencer. But his main thing that I can see is that he's angry at everything all the time. Or not everything. I guess because I don't watch his show, I've only seen clips, but he seems to have a real problem with women. And also, at the same time, I don't know if he talks about this anymore, but he wasn't able to get one, and then it turned into sex and getting a hug was gay, and he's got some figuring himself out to do, I think. But meanwhile, he's this grown-up crack baby that's out there spewing really, just awful things just to be hurtful. But he's not the only one, and I started watching a guy called Public Offender on YouTube. That's the name of his channel. I don't even know what he calls himself, but I started watching because I'm just fascinated by this incel thing, because it's like a whole thing. I'm sure there's merch, there's terminology, there's camps. But I don't understand, because you don't have to be that way. It's in involuntary non-sex having, I forget what the acronym means, and so, but I don't think it's involuntary that they're not having sex. I think it's completely a result of what they're volunteering to do and present to people. And the thing about that is you just gotta like it or lump it if you reach out to someone and they don't respond the way you want to, but they don't want to accept that, I guess. And so now I think it's developed, because it's been going on for some time, developing this movement. It's a movement now. It's not just these men that have this problem. Now they're so mad about it, they've become a movement. And they got a lot to say, and none of it is going to get any of them a date. And that's the thing I don't understand. It's the way you are is the reason why you're having problems. And you're doubling down on the thing that's making the thing I don't know, they used to say they wanted, to be with women or whatever. But now they're so mad it's all about forced encounters, physical encounters, and for years, women have had, feminist women, I guess, but that's ridiculous. Just women that could bear children or not, because, solidarity, we hope. But, women get blamed for everything all the time, and used to be they wanted to be with women, and then when they weren't, women were I don't want to be with you, they got mad at the women. The thing is bro, it didn't occur to you to look in the mirror and say, what am I doing wrong? So I don't know, that's just a weird thing. But so I started watching this guy's YouTube channel. It's called Public Offender, because he was talking about the incel thing, and I really want to know from them, those of them that are trying to address it, or at least are aware that they're doing it, and that it's not doing them any favors to be that way, like he's talking about it. So I want to definitely always hear it from a man's perspective. And he has other people on that talk, like women and men, and then he will find someone. He usually gets it. I think he starts his show like originates on TikTok, and then like the material that he has on his show seems to almost all come from TikTok. So it's a lot of young people, and it's really interesting because it's the perspectives that the people are talking about, and then he'll, like all shows, he'll generally have someone on that he agrees with, and then something on that or something in someone he does not agree with, and it's usually the guys. But everybody's got some work to do. That's all I can say. Not everybody. I don't mean just him and the people that he's talking about and the people that he showcases. We all do. We all have some work to do. Because none of us gets through any of this without the rest of us coming along. And as long as we're here, I think we're supposed to be like helping each other. And sometimes part of the helping is being a hindrance, but that's like a whole other thing. But that's not even what I wanted to talk about. This just was what I had been looking at before here that sort of sprung off a bunch of other stuff. But on the topic of moving out of something and moving into a new phase and the learning that comes along with it. So I guess what I was talking about does have to do with this, because everything is connected, like I was just saying. But I had two situations, and one has been going on. I've talked about it off and on. It was like over and it was back on. It was over and it was back on. And it's like, here's what happened. On Tuesday, I saw someone that I knew in town, and this person had told me a bunch of stuff and led me to believe that they were just like physically incapacitated and so badly messed up and couldn't get around and do stuff, like so bad that when I'd see they were on the Facebook, they were so feeble they couldn't reach out and do a Facebook with the little finger. So this has been going on for a while, and this is someone that I knew, and we got really close for a number of years, and then, as happens sometimes, our paths start to diverge. And I honestly cannot say with any kind of specificity what happened. I just kind of saw it coming 6 months before the end of the friendship came. And so, but that 6 months prior, I remember something happened, and I remember thinking, oh man, this person is like moving away from me. Like I had the thought, like I knew that it was an ending starting. I did not want that to be happening, because I really love this person as a friend. And anyway, it's not reciprocated in kind, I guess. Like there's feeling there, but I don't know. So anyway, the friendship ended, and then about 6 years went by, and this person reached out, and like I said, they're on the Facebook, and they never had been before. And then I had been away, like I go away from it and come back to it, but I had been away for, God, I guess I'd been gone a few years or so, and had come back, and then this person was on there, and I was like, oh wow, cool, and whatever. And then for months they didn't say anything, and then one day they sent me a message, and we did some talking back and forth, and we kind of made up, and then we did talk, like I think one time on the phone. And I was like overjoyed, because this person and I don't have to explain what I mean when I'm joking, which is priceless. Oh my God, and I miss it so much. And also, we could just crack each other up. Like, they would get me so bad that I would have to keep changing my damn pants. And while that was like an evil little thing, because they totally enjoyed doing it, pin that. They enjoyed doing that. But what ended up happening was nothing. They apologized and they said, well, it was this, that, and the other thing was the reason. And I'm not talking about what happened with me, because the 6 months, remember the 6 months where I was like, this person is leaving? Well, during that time following that 6 month point and before it for over a year, I knew that there was something amiss with the relationship, and I kept asking this person what was going on, like over and over, like I knew something was up, and they just would not answer me about it. And I mean, what do you do? So like they were still there, but then like the 6 month point came, and I knew like there was a split happening. So I did try to find out like what was the problem, and I just want to say that this person had no problem at any time telling me what they thought was wrong with me, up and down, what I was thinking was wrong, what I was saying was wrong. Man, I'm a dumbass. But anyway, like to have put up with that crap. But they came back and like made apologies and stuff, and they said, oh, it was this reason and that reason, and then like didn't really like go into detail. It was really kind of vague about it. And after they said it, I was like, well, you just told me that like nothing's different, except now you're like here to apologize. But I was like, yay, I get to have my friend back. But no, I like really didn't hear much from this person again. We kept missing each other because like I'm kind of my health is not great, so sometimes I need to go lay down a lot and like rest. But and supposedly that was their situation too, but the way they described it was like way worse than apparently it actually is, or they moved out of that or something. But that was the reason why they couldn't like interact with me. Like they had all these things wrong with them, and it was just so hard to do anything. And I was like, yeah, but you're on Facebook all the time and you don't never say nothing. But that right there, hi, telling you a big clue, dumbass, that you didn't notice. So 3 days ago now, I was about in town with the woman that comes and helps me from the state. And this is not a personal relationship is what I'm saying. And so I was like, we drove by these two people walking, and it's cold, so people are bundled up in coats, and they had like little hats on, or beanie or whatever. But they were and we're in a car, and I'm like, damn, that looked like that person. And then we got past them so that I could turn around and look back, and I was like, hey, that is her. And they were not even having a problem walking, and they made it sound like they needed equipment to walk. Well, they did say not all the time, but the last time I had seen them, they were walking so much better, and supposedly they had like major reasons that I was told that they should not have been able to walk as well. Like there wasn't even a limp, and there used to be, right? So, and then like their posture was straighter than like, and I thought, great, because that's obviously they were feeling better about themselves inside. But why tell me that song and dance, and then I don't know. And so like I was busy, I had this person, and we were in the middle of a conversation, and I just kind of let it go because we just weren't really interacting anyway. And I just thought, wow, like, oh, you feeling well enough to come in town and walking down the street holding packages? And I was like, good for you, but I'm gonna snap your neck. What the so the next day I got into it with this other person as well. But first, before I get into that, part two of the person that I was just talking about, I realized that when they made friends with me again, because they did say that, I miss my friend, I wanted to make friends again. That's not what they wanted, because that's not what turned out to happen. What they wanted was this is actually something that happens in the 12-step program for like addicts or substance abusers, where you go to the meetings and that. One step of the recovery is called making amends, and I've had a couple of those visits, and the thing about them is that good for you. I'm glad you got off the shit, because when they come to you for one of those amends deals, shit has gone down, and you probably are not the happiest with this person. I mean, at the time especially, and this can take years, like many years, before all of a sudden someone's like, you haven't seen in forever, and the reason why is because the last thing that happened made you not want to see them forever or something, So it's kind of like a shock and a surprise to the person that receives this visit or call. It should be a personal visit, but I have gotten a call. I don't think you're supposed to do that. I think you're supposed to show your ass up in person. Sorry. I'm starting to get irritated. So, my thing about that, the amends visit or communication, is that they have a tendency to, and this is a substance abuser thing, like someone that just cannot, like an addict, like they are in a struggle with themselves and this substance that can like take them over. So the thing about that is, though, you always have the technology to stop. It'll be hard. It could make you sick. It could maybe kill you, depending on how badly you've addicted yourself and how your come off is. It's very complicated, I guess, and it is like emotionally and physically. It's a lot. There's a lot that brings you to becoming the person that gets all messed up and has to quit. It's very complex. But understand the mental state of a person like that, a person that succumbs to addiction, okay? So they come to you and they say, well, I wasn't in control of myself because of the substance. People quit all the time, and you know how they do it? They decide to. So you are always in control. You just have to take control. And I know it's not just, because I hate when people go, oh, why don't you just lose weight? There's no just. There's always like stuff. There's a reason you got to where you are. And man, keep your comments to yourself if you can't like be cognizant of that, because you're not helping anybody with your third party comment. Okay, don't get stuck on that. So, okay, they're on the drugs. It's hard to be in control. I get it. And then they'll be at the meetings and they'll like get off the substance, and the meetings will tell them, okay, now you turn over your power to God. And then they'll come to you and say, okay, well, now it's in God's hands, so I no longer have responsibility for this. And I'm like, okay, that's 2 steps. You stepped right out of taking responsibility. And I have not said this because I have not had a visit since I've had this realization, but if you're leaving it in God's hands and you still are not taking responsibility, you have a problem. You and the organization with the 12 steps. And it is that if you're leaving what happened in God's hands, I got news for you. You are the embodiment of God. You are God's hands. The responsibility is yours to take. And if you don't, you're not taking responsibility. You can't just dump it in God's hands and say, I don't have to deal with. No. Because you're not coming to me and going, like, talking to me and working it out, or like whoever you screwed up with that has you coming around begging forgiveness or saying, I'm fixed and I'm better now. It's like, you have not done any of the work with me, though. You're just walking up and saying that, well, it wasn't my problem this time because of this, and it wasn't my problem again. It's like, so those are my thoughts on the amends visits. It's like, well, good, you got off the drugs, but you still have work to do. That's my feeling, and I guess that's harsh, but I'm not going to go into all of the reasons for that right now. So anyway, the person, and this person is not on the 12-step program. And they didn't come to me like it was an amends visit, because they tell you that too. I believe that's part of the step, is you have to tell the person that's why hi, I'm the person you really don't like back in your life all of a sudden. So, but that was not the case. Like, this was just their own, and this is what pissed me off. I finally realized, oh, they just wanted to make themselves feel better. Because I don't, like, now you still left me in the position before, like, stuff happened, and I'm glad I got an apology, but I don't, how real was it, you know? So I had that realization, and then the other person, I have very multi-layered, complex feelings about that situation. And it's even more than just I got mixed up with a person I don't know, that I met. Well, I didn't meet them online, but I've dealt with them only online pretty much. So it was just another situation where it boiled down to, this person wanted something from me, and they did not want to give me any kind of recompense. They didn't want to, like few years go by and you're doing stuff for people over and over and over, and in some cases, like, you're actually owed physical money. I know I'll get to it. So, you know, this person just is like, they're stringing me along, love bombing, doing the whole thing. But the problem with it is that there are completely valid reasons to still be hanging around, which I know you couldn't possibly imagine what those are, but they're not enough to keep me doing it forever, which I did finally get to the point where I was like, damn, you know, everything always do for me, and then like one little thing, total, like, narcissistic manipulation, like everything, like textbook. And, you know, foolish me, I'm like, okay, I guess I was, I'll fix it, but what I wanted to see is, could this be worked out like a couple of adult people? But I don't know, maybe they're both narcissists. They're both definitely manipulative to, like, get what they want. And that's, I had just asked myself the day before I got mad at the first person and realized that they didn't come to me to be friends again. They came to make themselves feel better about the way they left it. So I said, why do I not get mad at these people? Like, why do I just take it and take it and take it? And usually until they are like, you're so stupid, I can't even abuse you anymore, and they leave. And, you know, that don't feel great. Hi. So I finally got mad. Like, but they both, in concert, I was just like, they just want something from me, you know, and they don't want to reciprocate. They don't want to uh God, what is the word? Give me a concession for nothing, man. It's like, just come and take what you need. And that, unfortunately, is like a story of my life. And in my sort of efforts to get the heck out of that and like find out how to stop letting people do that to me, obviously it's a matter of neediness. It's like I'll put up with crap because there's a hair of what I need or what I want from someone else, and I understand how relationships work. Usually that prefix usually involves a two-party situation. You give and you take. It's like, reciprocal. Re. So the re just wasn't really happening, and it's like I always want to allow people to be their best first before I'm just like, F them, I don't want anything to do with them again. And over the past couple of years, I'm even like reluctant to go to the place where I'm all F them, because as angry as I finally got at this second person, I did spend time, way more time than I should have, waiting for the same thing to change, and it just it wasn't gonna, and it just seemed like it was never gonna. And so at some point it's like, I don't like to do things for people and be all, okay, I'm gonna do this, but I expect this in return. Like, if I'm gonna do something for you, it's because I am moved to do it, because I want to, because I feel like it. It's not like it's a transactional. But with a lot of people it is, because unfortunately that's how you're expected to behave in the society I live in, and I think it's gross. But at the same time, if you're doing stuff for someone for a couple of years and you're asking them for like the same two things over and over, and they'll find 80 ways from Sunday. I know you shouldn't have waited for 80. 2 ways should have been enough for you to say, this ain't happening the way I want it to. What it boiled down to is I didn't feel like I was being treated the way I wanted to be treated. And I kept saying, actually I said it twice. This is what I need from you. And I let them know, but I had let them know many, many times before that. But I was like, I'm only going to say this like a couple more times, and I'm not going to be saying nothing to you anymore pretty quick. And I had to doubt myself a little bit, because I kept saying that, going back. But like finally it's like, no. And it took me getting mad, and it took the 2 events happening to make me just be like, I'm done, like for real, like no going back. This has been trying to happen to me for a long time, and I have to say that the person that I was just talking about, that I won't say I wasted the years dealing with them. I will say that I spent them, because it was an experience that once I'm not mad anymore and some time passes, it's going to tell me some things about myself that I needed to know. But to get there, I also knew that I needed to pursue this with this person as far as it was going to go, because it was so close to like ideal situation for me as a partnership in like almost every one of the ways possible. And I just say almost because they never let it happen. They just found another sucker to string along or something. But like I said, it's so hard, because at the same time there's a whole nother layer and level to this that I can't ignore. But I also kind of had an inkling when this situation with this person began that it could not work out the way I wanted it to, and it sure hasn't. So close. It's like like it's in another dimension right there, and I just can't quite reach it. And so, if you're like me, you're on YouTube a lot, and you'll see these videos. And one thing that I have been seeing off and on for probably the past 6 months are ones that are talking about stop being nice, and they just just before, like, not, it was sort of like at the same time that I had these 2 days of revelations, like, just get mad finally. I started seeing stop being nice, but I saw them like for a while, and I looked, and yeah, I mean, I get it, I understand what it's saying, but I'm not sure how to do that, because I don't want to change how I am, because I know eventually I'm going to find a person that appreciates what I have to offer and is not going to take advantage of me, and or take advantage of that, and you know, good things will happen. Or, you know, what happened with this last person is it was like, I have had the experience when you meet someone and you click and it's right, and everything is an open door, everything is a green light. With this person, it's like green, but open, but doorstop on the other side, like this much open, but doorstop on the other side, so you can't even like stick your head in and look, like that kind of crap. And no more, thank you very much. But I don't know how to not be nice, like how to not think of the other person's needs, not to the detriment of myself, because I'm not going to do that either. But I feel like there should be some reciprocity. Did I say that right? The person should reciprocate in kind, at least, you know? I mean, after a while, you don't, like, it just took too long, and then nothing was happening. That, like, it just, I found myself, like, I'd be all happy, and then they'd start talking about the thing that they wanted from me, that they wanted me to, like, pay attention to, and I was like, that is specifically the whole time that I have said I don't want nothing to do with, and you just keep forcing it on me. So it'll be all happy, and we'll have a great conversation, and then you'll bring up that crap, and every time it does not go right. Like, what he wants me to, so why? Okay, like, why do you keep doing that to me? And why did I let you keep doing that? So it's like, what I'm getting at is, I knew that this had the potential to not go right at all, but I just wanted to go all in, because I just was not getting mad. I was always hurt and sad, but I was never mad, because what was I going to do? Like, oh, I'm mad at you, I'm going to yell at you. Well, what the hell is that going to do? Nothing. And then I always felt like the situations where usually I'd be with someone and they'd just be cheating on me, and like everybody in the world would know, and I'd be the last one to find out. Because you know why? Because I just trusted them, because I wasn't doing that to them. Because I know if I'm with someone, because it's happened one time, if I'm with someone and I become interested in someone else, and I feel like for whatever reason the thing I'm in is not working, I will, like, not working for me, it's a story. But what ended up happening was, like, I realized that what I was in was not the thing. It was just not going to work. And then I had met someone else that I was interested in while I was, like, involved with this person. And I was like, well, I'm not interested really anymore in this. So I broke up with the person I was with to check out this other person. And that turned out to be crap, too, because I don't make good choices. But I'm trying to learn, you know? And that's why I just have been like, all right, I'm just going to double and triple down on this shit until, or I'm not, but I'm just going to do that until I just get through this and, like, get it through my head, like, don't do this, but you can do this, but don't do that. Like, I don't know, like, still going through frogs at this advanced stage, because I didn't do it when I was younger, because I don't know, I just couldn't, like, keep diving into that pool and getting chewed up by piranhas and spit back out, you know? It was like, I wasn't a good fisher. So it just, that's personal stuff, right? But at the same time, I can't help but look out at the world outside of me, and I know that, like, that's like the American way, like capitalism and transactional everything, and other people are there as a stepping stone or a device to get you what you want, I guess. And the incel thing is just proof that, it's not just about them and their bad feelings. It is also the rest of us, because how did they get there? We're all here, like, right with them. There's people's kids and siblings and co-workers, and there are friends and whatever. And, like, how did they become like this? How did they become like that amongst the rest of us? Like, wow, it's not just them, you know? And I guess that's, like, my interest so much. I want to understand them. I want to understand me. Like, what's going wrong? Like, what's going right? We need to, like, focus on that more, I think. But hold on. There's like involuntary purging going on right now, just because there's, the energies are so incredibly intense that they're just, like, exciting stuff in us, and we're all going through stuff, and it's uncomfortable for a lot of us. And you know, what a year it's been, right? Has anything happened the way you expected it? Like, from Biden, and, like, stepping down and basically getting pushed to step down, and boy, there's a lot of stuff happening there behind the scenes and undercover that I just feel like a snake pit is happening. Like, a lot of argy-bargy pushing around, and Republicans seem just as fractious and kooky. It is like we're a boiling pot of stuff right now. But you know what's gonna happen? It's gonna, I think, a lot of our, it's gnarly. It's I think even scary, because, like, okay, so the public offender guy, one of the conversations he had, this is the guy on YouTube that I've been watching, the man that talks about incel stuff. So he had an episode where there was a teacher on there, and this guy was saying that it's junior high school, so, or middle school. So he was saying that there were 14-year-old boys running down the hallway, terrorizing girls, talking about, like, rape scenarios and butt rape, and yelling, oh, and wearing, like, MAGA hats and yelling, "Your body, my choice." And Nick Fuentes said that is why I was talking about him earlier. And I would just want to say, like, no woman that was letting you touch their body did that change. You keep talking like that, and you're still not going to get one, which is, like, what I was saying before. You are doing this to yourselves, too. You know, it's like the addict. Like, you always, it's going to be hard, you know, and you're going to get sick, but you can decide to quit. Like, even in the worst of it, people do that all the time. Like, you don't have to go to rock bottom. You do have a choice in life. So these guys are like, we don't want to do any of the work or something, so we just do it, or we'll just make you. And it's like, dude, that is terrible energy. It's not gonna, it's just not gonna work out well. I don't even think it's gonna, like, come to anything. I think it's just, I don't know. I guess it's just volatile and things remain to be seen, but just keep pushing things. But I don't think it's really what you want. Like, they're not taking responsibility, like with the substance abuser and the 12-step program, you know, telling you to do everything but look directly at what the problem is. But you know what? 12-step program don't always work. Like, it doesn't always stick, you know? That's up to the person. I mean, everyone has to find their own way, but they even have a word for it when it doesn't work, and it's called slip. Oh, I slipped. I slipped. No, you meant to do that. You always have a choice. Same goes with incels. Same goes with me. I made the choice to put myself through this idiot stuff again, and I think I finally got the result I wanted. I got mad. I finally got mad. It's like, save your goodies for someone that actually deserves it, is the point. And I mean goodies in the filthy way, and in the way of, like, there are good things to be had with relationships just from spending time with people. You know, it doesn't have to all be about in the sack stuff. There's a lot more. And anyway, that's what's been on my mind. And so I pulled some cards, and I don't know if I looked at them earlier, and I didn't know, like, if they were gonna work with what I had to say, but let's just see. So pulled them from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, and I got the number 19, which is the Falling Angel card, and oh, excuse me, it's spiritual narcolepsy. That's interesting. That makes me just think of the whole 12-step thing, because it's like they're sleeping on the responsibility part, and it's like involuntary almost. But that could be like, I feel like the addict and the substance abuse thing is kind of there for us to see an extreme version of what we're all kind of doing in a way anyway. Just a thought. So if you look at this card, you can't really focus on it, and it's because it's like this figure, this falling angel, is like all over the place. They're in motion. I would feel like if you looked like this physically, I can't imagine you could think straight. So I think it's just talking about a period of, like, when you're in addiction, or when you're in whatever incelism is, like when you're in that state and you're just not right, you're not yourself, and you're not looking at things clearly. If you can't see things clearly, I guess you can't live clearly. I guess that's what that's saying. The next card I pulled is 19 card, number 20 card. And it's the Feast of Plenty. Choices and their consequences. So that's giving me big tarot card 7 of Cups energy, where you just have all of these choices, and you can't, it's hard to decide. Like, the choices are dizzying, and they all have a consequence, which is, you know, all these are like the consequences to me. Like, it could be like violent energy of, you know, fighting, arguing. It could be like calm, getting clear, and like meditating on a crystal, and kind of rising above this like sort of my way or the highway. I'm gonna force things and take it stuff, because there's like everything here. There's all of these choices. Like, what's this little yellow deal here? Is like oh, that's a plant, but you got like green plant life, so there's healing that could be had. The future is yet to be seen. Like, you have all these choices, and you can like make the future. There's like the sun back there, like the potential of the sun and light to me is just like abundance and positivity. So when we have choices, it's good to have choices, right? So, like, on a political level here in the U.S., a lot of our choices are trying to be removed from our possession, and I think we got to be a lot more possessive about it, and actually maybe like use a little strength and power and even threat, because that's what they're using against us. It's like there's two swords there. There's two sides. More than two, but choices and their consequences. And so, again, with the addicts and the substance abuse, you can choose to go on living the chaos, or you can be tired of it and choose something stable, something other than giving up your power to this drug and the life, or the drink and the life, because they all change you. They all change your ability to react to things the way you normally would. I've seen it happen so many times, and the first thing that you kind of notice is the caring goes away. Like, all they care about is themselves and their next whatever it is, and whatever they got to do to get there, have that. So, to even get to the point where you're like maybe out of that and you're making like better choices, there's a possibility for healing. There's light at the end of the tunnel. You got to do one of these. You got to start facing yourself. You got to take responsibility for what you do. You can't be blaming other people for things that you decided to take part in with other people, because at every point you have the ability to realize that maybe this is not the best idea. So this usually comes after some serious soul searching, or the need for serious soul searching. Like, that's what you have to go do. So the card is Deep Diver, the number 10, and the subtitle is Diving into a Task. If you want to pull yourself out of some of these situations, you have to like decide to, people do clean up and like get off the substances, and people unincel. And it's interesting, the ones that have just one day something clicks and they are in that state of receptivity, right? Where you're like, I'm ready to have I'm ready to receive that good energy, that positive energy, that non-destructive energy, that non-force energy, that's conducive to pairing and partnering and interacting positively and having the potential to interact again. Like, there could be a second date, or if it's a business there's more to the proposition, like more better ideas come to whatever the idea is that you're building, like whatever the project that you're trying to make. Excuse me. Which in every case is going to be your life, so you want to make it the best you can. So what happens after you do the deep diving and the soul searching, and really, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel. When you decide to take the deep dive, it's less of a rock bottom. It's kind of like a directed deep dive. You're around there, but you've made the choice to examine things yourself. It's not the same as failure, rock bottom. And once you get there, next card, what you have to do is the soul searching, like I was saying, and the taking responsibility. And basically, so this card is Vanishing Mirror, and the subtitle is Ego Sublimation. And the ego, it's interesting. You can't, what's the thing they say about women? You can't kill it and you can't strangle it, and whatever, it's awful, but it's kind of like that about the ego. You can't get rid of it. It's always going to be with you, and it's both a gift and a curse, because it'll save you, your life at some times, just the proud protection of your own life. You're going to, be there for yourself. And God, thank you for distracting me. Dang it! Oh, and then also, that can be a deterrent too. Like if you get too full of yourself, you think you're better than everybody else, and everybody else is there for you to take advantage of, and what they have is yours for the taking. And that's all like, what gives you the right? Who do you think you are? You and get on your horse and get out of here with your ego. So I mean, I guess that's basically when like you're not as attractive with your ego as you once were, and like things that used to like make you feel superior maybe, or just like a little bit better than you were, and then it starts to turn into, just like with the addiction, it's the caring that goes away. You stop caring like if other people are worth anything, have value, and other than for you to in some way use or take from. And just, boy, smash that with the mirror too, because that's just bad energy. But you can decide not to go there. You can decide to smash the mirror yourself. It doesn't have to be a forced to rock bottom situation. You can decide to go here. And so this is what will usually happen once you're down there. Like maybe the pressures under the deep water fracture that ego in such a way that allows you to learn not to be harmful with it, because that might drive that sort of transactional terrible attitude. Okay, don't play with that anymore. So the last card I picked was the number 55, and it's the Farther Gate card. Subtitle is Bold Step Forward. So I mean, I could see this as finishing all of the going through those things, like sort of going into yourself to see deep and up close, like what your bad habits are, like what your choices end up making, what the choices you make, what the consequences of those are. Like a lot of times that's going to come back in some way, and you're going to be reminded, and it doesn't always have to be negative, but sometimes it is, but something you did in the past that you've come a long way from, and maybe you get to revisit that person, people, situation again, and you're the new person. Like you learned the things, you've been through the things, and so you're a different person, because maybe you got your capacity to care back, and to understand that it's not just about you. There are other people involved, and your choices do impact other people, and not always great. So it's kind of like, how is your ego directing you when you're making your choices that will impact other people? Are you making choices that are going to be harmful to other people, and do you mean to do that? And if you don't mean to do that, you have to take a look at what you're doing and make the decision to not be harmful. It's, because if you take a moment, what's going to happen if you do something. How it's going to, if you say something in a certain way to a certain person during a certain situation, it's going to have a certain effect. Like, you always have a choice. We understand very well what we're doing. Like, we're never really wandering around blind in the dark, even if we're completely messed up on substances. There's always a level of consciousness in there driving the human car, moving the human machine along. So, I don't know what that's supposed to do for everybody else, except that to give a different awareness to what's happening around us, and like our place in what's happening. And it's the situation in the U.S. is getting really interesting right now, and I'm just laughing because parts of it are laughable. And it's good. Like, you gotta, like, let off some steam somehow. You can't just be under pressure all the time and feel like you have nowhere to go. That makes too many of us run to the substances, and that choice causes more problems. This was not the best decision. But what we do have is each other, and we've been neglecting that, and we barely know how to even interact anymore without hurting each other's feelings at the very least. So we don't have to do that. You know, we can decide not to be wieners. I don't know, but for some reason, to like be nice and generous and kind is the harder thing to do. I just had like I guess a vision of a person just holding something inside them that's hurting them so bad that they don't know what to do with it except hurt back out with it. So there's a lot of that happening, I think. And I've said this from the beginning, like particularly when it came to like the QAnons and the MAGAs. I don't know how I knew that they were going to be super oversensitive or super sensitive about things, but they're self-conscious. They're proud or whatever they say, but they're self-conscious as hell. That's the only thing I can figure for the hypersensitivity, but I've always said that we shouldn't like be making fun of them. Like, we totally ended. I say we, but I stay out of that for the most part. Like, I'm not. You're not gonna hear me on here talking a bunch of crap about those people, because that is not gonna help the situation. That they have the opinions they have for a reason. And we should not discount their choices or any of that. And they say some things that we don't want to hear and that are hurtful sometimes, but that also works both ways. I will say that I think most of the time it goes really overboard coming from the right. But there's a reason for that. And I don't feel like it's helping any of us to exacerbate it. I guess I have to keep saying it. At some point, somebody has got to decide to be the bigger man. If you can come up with a better phrase to convey that sentiment, share it with me. But being the bigger man is just the one that's right there that comes to mind. And so, I mean, if you're unhappy with the way things are right now, that's where we gotta go. Like, it's gotta be more giving than taking, because boy, we know how to do that, and we have seen so many ways that that don't work out so well for everyone. Anyway, those are my thoughts this evening. Thank you and good night.